My name is Marion Rozan. I was born May 13th, 1936, to Gertrude and Ralph Hesberger. I grew up in Port Jervis, went to the elementary schools, and graduated in June of 1955 from Port Jervis High School. I went to Cobleskill College of Agriculture and Animal Husbandry to take business courses. It didn't last long. I left at Thanksgiving vacation. In January of 1956, my girlfriend, Bobby Startup, and I made our big adventurous trip to the big city of Irvington, New Jersey. Bobby stayed with me for 4 months, and she returned to Port Jervis and got married. I remained here, and my first job was for Fidelity Union Trust, which was a bank, no longer in existence, and I was a bookkeeper. I worked for them for 4 years and then went to Hatfield Wire and Cable, where I was a key punch operator, which nowadays is obsolete also. I became the assistant supervisor of the key punch department, and I worked there for 4 years. And at that time, I had also met Tom Duffy, who now is and has been my significant other for quite a number of years. When Tom left Hatfield Wire, he became Chief Financial Officer of several different prominent companies in New York. And at this time, he and I are both enjoying our retirement by doing a lot of traveling. My father was a butcher and retired from the A&P. He retired at an early age. He was 50, and he was sickly and could no longer work. My mother basically was a housewife, raising my brother, my sister, and myself. My mother started to work in a small baby outfit company, and she retired from there and had worked there many years and was well loved by many, many people. Actually, I was a pretty good kid and never really got into very much trouble. I do remember one day when one of my little friends came over to play, and we were playing in a mud pile in the backyard, and we decided that we wanted to be black people. So we spread the mud all over our face, all over our arms, and my mother came out and she said, "What are you two doing? Betty, you get home, and Marion, you go up in the bathtub." At 6, I started to go to elementary school in Port Jervis, New York. And from grammar school, we went right into the high school, and I graduated from Port Jervis High School in June of 1955. In January of 1956, I moved to the big city of Irvington, New Jersey, loving it very much. I enjoy my life here. And I had different positions in different companies while I've been here. I met my ex-husband when I was 21 years old, I believe. And much to my amazement, he was a suave Frenchman from Paris. And never did I dream, being a little hit girl from Port Jervis, New York, that I'd wind up with this suave Frenchman. And we dated for 7 years, I guess it was, and finally got married in 1964. My daughter, Micheline, was born in January of 1965, and she's been the delight of my life. I couldn't have asked for a better daughter. I did leave Hatfield Wire in 1965, and I became a stay-at-home mom to my daughter Micheline. And while I was at home, I had a home job. I started out as a telemarketer for suburban photographers. And I worked as that telemarketer for several years, but then in the long run, I wound up becoming the manager of the studio, where I met hundreds of people, and they were all brides, grooms, and mothers. After Micheline was born, we moved to Bloomfield, New Jersey, where she grew up on a street where there was basically all little girls, and she had a really joyous life. They were able to play in the street, and many of her friends are still friendly with her today, and they gab about their children. While she was in high school, she met her husband-to-be, Anthony Nesto, and they dated for several years before they got married. And they had a beautiful wedding at St. Thomas Church in Bloomfield, and a magnificent reception at Nanina's in the Park in Belleville. 8 years later, they became the parents of 3 beautiful triplet girls, Alana, Brielle, and Jenna. Having triplet babies was quite an experience for everyone. Grandparents, parents, aunts and uncles, everybody pitched in to help because they were all on different schedules, and they still have different schedules and different personalities. Obviously, they needed a lot of help when the babies were first born, so I helped out as much as I could, even though I had a full-time job. When I was born with what they call a veil, which some babies are born with. You don't hear much about it these days, but at the time I was born, it supposedly was a sign of good luck, which I really never thought much about until I started thinking about doing this video. My first good luck, I would say, was that I won a silver loving cup for being a beautiful baby. And then going on forward, when I was 13 years old, my father had put on a clam bake for volunteer firemen because every year there was a firemen's parade in Port Jervis. So he brought some of the steamed clams home, and we had them the following day for lunch. And my father was always the type that said, eat, eat, eat. And he wanted me to eat a clam, and I didn't want to. However, to pacify him, I ate a clam, and when I bit down, I bit into something hard. And when I spit it out, it was a black pearl. So I didn't believe him, but we did take it to the jeweler, and we had it appraised and set into a ring, and I still wear the ring today. So I think that was a lucky experience also. Okay, another example of my good luck was I was one of the 2 grand prize winners from the Folgers Coffee Contest, and I won a trip for 2 to Hawaii. When I renewed my friendship with Tom Duffy, luckily he loves to travel, and we have been on 27 cruises up to this point, taken in the last 10.5 years. We've been all over the world, to Switzerland, to London, to Paris, to Rome, all over all the Caribbean islands. We've been to Hawaii, and we've been to different areas in South America. But to pinpoint one area that I enjoyed the most, it would really be hard to do. However, Switzerland was breathtaking. Ireland was breathtaking in its own way, because it is true, there are thousands of shades of green in Ireland, and it's breathtaking. Of course, one big thing that happened when we were in Rome, we were in St. Peter's Square. The bells started to chime, and the crowd became silent. And the Pope came out and spoke to the audience from the balcony. After living in Bloomfield on Morton Street for 31 years, I happily have now lived in Kinder Towers for the last 7 years. I'm pretty active in the building when we have special events such as our upcoming hot dog day. I'm in charge of the planning, And we have other events during the year, a pie day, a pizza day, and a big Christmas party in December. And I have other women in the building that do help me, but I do all the planning basically for all the events. I've developed a lot of close friends, and I've had them most of my life. And people always marvel at the fact that I have so many friends. But it just, to me, it's not an effort for me to make a friend. And people come and they tell me their troubles or ask advice, you know, and I myself have no idea why they do it, but I'm happy to help them in any way I can. But otherwise, I mean, I'm proudest of my daughter and my grandchildren. You know, they're the light of my life. The majority of my life was happy. I had one bad period, but that's over and done with. So there's no bad thoughts anymore about that. Or I shouldn't say bad thoughts. There's really no thinking about it anymore. And I'm a much, much happier person since. And I don't worry about a thing. I used to be one of the biggest worriers going, and I was on Valium to settle me down. And now I don't worry about anything because I feel that I'm happier when I don't worry, and 9 times out of 10, whatever you're worrying about never happens. So why should I be upset over something and ruin my health? And I'm really a happy person.